only thing that could make that better is if she saw a Mennonite at one point and said, "Look at those earwigs over there."
If our listener is listening and thinks that Mennonites are actually earwigs,
If our listener.
like
My mental image of Mennonites was really not that dissimilar from Weird Al's Amish Paradise music video. You've known all along what Steven and I have just now figured out.
For sure.
I
didn't know.
Come on.
Baptists came out and they're like, hey, what if we did what the Bible says? And everybody's like, we could burn you at the stake.
So now that you got learned something, listeners and me. You're welcome.
Get Jedediah back on the bike.
No.
We got to charge the generator up.
Can you imagine next episode, Critical Levitical podcast sponsored by Mennonite. Welcome everybody to the Critical Levitical podcast. If you have been joining us semi-recently, we've been hinting at the topic we're going to cover today, but we're actually going to do it now. We're finally covering this.
It's kind of our MO.
It is a little bit, yeah. We like to hint at things and then take a while to get to them. But I came across this website we're going to talk about today in actually prepping for one of our other podcasts, more recent podcast episodes, and I'm not going to lie. Cameron, when you asked me, you're like, where'd you find this? Oh, yeah, the Pirate Bible. I found one of the verses from the Pirate Bible. And you're like, where'd you find it? I'm like, oh, no, some online forum website. Little did I know that this was a website forum for Mennonites. It's literally Mennonet.com, where Mennonites and others connect. I appreciate that they leave it open, you know? They don't bar access.
That is true. And others. I missed that the first time.
Yeah, and others. And I think,
you
know what, that probably makes
Mennonites get like a membership card or something?
Yeah. They only have certain IP addresses.
A membership card.
And listen, we're going to talk about this site because we have come across some very, very interesting conversations. Also, it broke some false beliefs apparently I had about Mennonites and what they could or could not do. So anyway, I hope you enjoy.
The Critical Levitical podcast.
Before we get into this topic, I have a funny story about Mennonites. So, Sabrina, I'm sorry for sharing this. And to all of the Mennonite community, I'm sorry in advance. Okay. For whatever reason, this will make sense in a second.
Can't wait.
You know the earwig bugs?
Yes.
They're like really creepy looking.
So many of them.
This just keeps getting weirder. What is happening?
Just wait. Just wait. I don't know how this started, but for whatever reason, Sabrina thought they were called Mennonites, like genuinely. And so it's gotten to the point where that's all we call them. Even knowing like that it's called an earwig, we still only call them that. No, this is a true story. I'm not making this up. The next time you see her, you guys have to ask her. And like, so that's all we call them in our house now.
I know it's true because you can't make that up.
Yeah. But like, think about it sounds like a bug. I'm sorry, like it does. I think it's the "ite" part. That's what does it. The like
trilobite.
Something like that.
Ammonite.
The only thing that could make that better is if she saw a Mennonite at one point and said, "Look at those earwigs over there."
Yeah.
Did you know earwigs drive horses?
You drive past a Mennonite church and she's like, "Oh my gosh, can you imagine what it looks like in there?"
Oh my word. Yeah.
Sorry. It seems like there was more to that story.
No, that was it. That just I had to share what we call them. We both know what they're really called. It's just that's what we call them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Did she ever elaborate on like where that disconnect came from?
Maybe at one point, I can't remember, but we're too far gone now. You know,
we're gonna have to have her as a special guest on this podcast to defend herself.
Yeah, that's right. So
that's
anyway,
so good.
Yeah, I had to share that.
God bless that. Thank you for sharing that story.
You're welcome. Again, we on this forum we came across some interesting little conversations that we had to talk about. Also, just the existence of this website we had to talk about.
Mennonite is a great name.
Oh, it's super great. Yeah, like there are some pretty bad website names out there. I'm like, you guys were lazy. This one, pretty good. Again, like there's no like there would be a handful of things that you could even call a Mennonite online forum, but Mennonite for sure the best one. So I don't know. Again, I don't know how we're going to do this, but what's up, Preston?
I just want to let you guys know in advance, I did search the Mennonite forum for any posts about earwigs, and they do not exist.
Darn.
So
No home remedies?
I appreciate your thoroughness.
Okay. Well, again, we've definitely got some stuff that we want to share with you guys. I don't know how we're going to get them up here, but you guys will see them. somewhere in the video, presumably, because there's some fascinating things that they talk about. And honestly, not too dissimilar from what we talk about on this podcast. A lot of this stuff, too. So,
So
we
hey,
might,
if you're not watching on YouTube, go watch on YouTube. That's the best
That's
way to experience the Critical
While you're there,
podcast.
like, subscribe, leave a comment for your favorite one you found on the Mennonite forum. But who wants to go first? You guys both had some submissions on things you wanted to share. Let's get into them,
Did we?
I thought you did.
I think we could talk a little more broadly about like Mennonite belief and culture.
Sure. Let's get into the
here's
forum first, and then we'll talk about Mennonites.
That's fair.
Well, I've got a post that I think that like really leads into it.
Okay, then we'll
well.
do you
So
second.
if you have something,
Okay.
Yeah.
I just love that they have. Well, again, I think we've said it several times already today, but it blows my mind that there is a forum for Mennonites. It changed what I thought I knew about Mennonites.
Same. Absolutely.
But not only that, within that, they have a sub forum thread thing called Tech Talk, which
Tech Talk. Okay.
is another layer of what? But then they're also kind of self-aware
have that.
because the like byline or the description of it is where we talk about modern advancements like the abacus and the printing press, which is just
yeah. When we first came across
So
this,
good.
I didn't know how abacus worked. So
yeah, we
yeah, right.
we
Maybe
had
I'm
a crash
Mennonite.
course on abaci.
Yeah, right. Abacuses.
I
actually
refuse
don't
to
know
say
which
that
one's
word.
correct. Fair enough.
That's fantastic. So and it turns out there's like a lot of concern about AI in the Mennonite Tech Talk
Valid.
forum,
Valid.
and somebody had found an AI with depression. That's interesting. It's not super frequented. It looks like.
Called
Interesting.
Grok.
Yeah.
There's only a couple thousand users. It looks like.
A couple on the site, like total.
Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know.
That's
Don't
a
quote
pretty
me on
good.
that.
I feel like that's a pretty good number considering what it is.
Yeah, there's only a couple thousand Mennonites. There's a whole thing about pilots, which is interesting. Oh wow.
Pronounced Pilates.
There's apparently a guy on YouTube who has a whole thing dedicated to aviation tragedies, whose name is, get this, Doug Brown.
Hey.
Shout out to my dad.
What if Steven is like, yeah, I know. It's like he's been doing that since I was a kid.
that's actually him.
Yeah, that's his whole hobby.
Yeah.
Pastoring
He does it specifically for the Mennonite community.
Right. Yeah.
It's his outreach.
Aerospace tragedies for Mennonites. Yeah.
This is why we take horses.
That's right. Yeah. Oh man. Do they?
Would they do like a Pegasus maybe if they wanted to travel
That'd be nice.
long distance? I do want to get into the misconceptions about Mennonites that we, at least the three of us, believe. We can't be the only ones, but it sounds like Preston has a post that'll take us home. It'll take us there.
Not really. Mine gets more into the kind of theology.
That's what you
promised. You said.
No, not about
Well, still.
technology. No, mine
that's
gets
fine.
more into like digging into like theology and
right.
like
Their
Christian
practice and
beliefs.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. So more like what they believe than what they do.
Actually,
yeah. Mine's more
first
like
we
moral.
should probably then we should probably define. First of all, if our listener is listening and thinks that Mennonites are actually earwigs,
Our listener,
like should
guys,
we
look, it's our
define?
listener.
No, should we define what Mennonites are? Like before we move into this conversation on why this website would even be fascinating, because it's highly
Or
possible.
define what we think that Mennonites are.
Yeah,
and then dissect what Mennonites
Amish light.
That's in my
that's-
mind. I associated them together. I thought that
Yeah.
they were kind of the same. I'm not gonna lie. That sounds so bad.
Because there is some parallel history.
Okay, fair. Which makes sense. So they're a Christian, group, but they're a very not exclusive. They're a more reserved, a close knit community of Christians. Again, similar to like the Amish, for example,
yeah.
but
So
not quite the same.
yeah, so my mental image of Mennonites was really not that dissimilar from Weird Al's Amish Paradise music video.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
Which I'm sure they love.
pilgrim hats, all of that. And when I did some research on Mennonites, for one, I discovered that I might be a Mennonite. That's a whole other thing. We'll get there. but they're like, I found like the Mennonites website. Not Mennonite, but like, where'd it go? It's something like that. It's like Mennonite Church dot like something. I don't know. But this is our governing what we believe, why we believe it, all that kind of fun stuff. There's like picture. Yeah, that's the guy who
I forgot about this. I knew. Wow. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Keep going.
What did you know? What did you learn?
No, like they're a huge part of Baptist history. Like this guy is like, especially in the U.S. Like anyway,
they're like pre-Baptist.
Yeah.
So when I went to their MennoniteUSA.org, that's what it was. Some of the pictures, like the main like header picture on their website, looks like any Baptist or non-denominational church. Like there's a big LED screen in the background.
Oh, what?
And like blue lighting.
Where you at?
MennoniteUSA.org / you're not. Let me just text you the link. This is their like statement of beliefs page. Now this little thumbnail that sends, it's got like a little gal with a tambourine, so it looks a little more Pentecostal. But
what do you know? I'm here.
Yeah, like look at that. Like there's LED lighting, there's like a stage set design, a big LED screen,
graphic tees
with like that's CMG motion graphics in the background for any of the tech nerds listening. But they're doing feet washing on the stage, which is so some things. So they are not the like
certainly not.
Yeah, the Luddite. Yeah. So here's where it happened. A branch of Mennonites broke off, became the Amish Mennonites. And they hold the same general theological beliefs, but that's where they pulled away into this kind of Luddite, close knit.
There's like levels. There's levels of it too. So like you have the like old world Mennonite, Amish Mennonite,
Great Jam, Great Pickles.
Sure. But then you also have like there's also like intermediate where it's like we are very conservative, both in practice and in like presentation. So like they wear the long dresses and stuff like, but they still like go to like I had some Mennonite girls that I went to high school with. Didn't really know that. I wish I had gotten to know that.
So you knew what you've known all along what Stephen and I have just now figured out.
For sure.
I
didn't know.
Come on.
As much as what we're talking about,
Fair.
But I knew that there was like some deviation from like Amish belief.
Okay.
But yeah,
like I knew that in my head. I just didn't know like what it was.
What I'm like really interested in, and Stephen, you might, or Cameron too, like one of you might be able to answer this. But like I was going through the Wikipedia articles this morning. I was telling Cameron this before we got started. Like you go to the Mennonite Wikipedia, and it's one of those where it's like, oh, this is 800 miles long. There's a lot here. So you start digging in, and like the fifth word in the article is Anabaptist. I'm like, well, I remember I don't know much about that. So like go look at that. So open that article and just, but what was interesting is like, you go read that article and it's like, so Anabaptist is people who don't believe in infant baptism. They believe in true believers baptism, which like we would all agree with. I think we all agree with the Anabaptist position. But as I'm reading that article, it's like, here's what Anabaptists believe, not like Baptists. And then it just moves on. I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. How do you just, what? Like, where's the deviation? What do we believe that, like, where does Anabaptist deviate from Southern Baptist? Answer that for me.
Well, Anabaptist predates the Southern Baptist bias.
Or where do we deviate from Anabaptist?
Yeah, that's a good question. The Anabaptist movement, again, the only thing is just it's kind of like the beginning of this. Like it's they were part of this like heavily persecuted. Like
fun fact, they actually occurred before the Protestant Reformation. The Anabaptist Reformation,
considerably before. The way I read it, it seemed like it was like either Paedobaptism or Anabaptist
at a time.
Yeah,
it was.
That kind of became a delineation in like the 1700s. Once they came to America, there was kind of this whole thing where you had like Presbyterian, Anglican, Episcopalian, Methodist, and then Baptist came out and like, hey, what if we did what the Bible says? And everybody's like, we could burn you at the stake and
drown you in the river.
Seems to happen an unfortunate amount throughout history.
Yeah.
No, I was telling Preston too, I feel like Anabaptists to some extent are also like measured a little bit on like revisionist history, like, well, they're just the problem solvers in religion because they always come in and try to make, whatever and cause fights. And I'm like, I think that they're just right.
Yeah, like I know as far as theology goes, like theology are very, very similar, I'm sure, to a lot of like obviously mainline SBC beliefs today. I would have to like do study again. There's a book, I mean, there's 2 books actually I have, and I know where they are, and I read them in seminary. That was years ago, and it covered like all of this.
Got those 3 certificates behind you.
That's right.
And then forgot it all.
All of it, every single bit of it. But yeah, I've slept since then. All right, okay, it's been a while. But yeah, I mean, that I will say this.
And mowed the yard.
I know this doesn't answer your question. Baptist history is fascinating, and there's a lot more to the iceberg than a lot of people initially think.
Yeah, I've been slowly going through a book called The History of Baptists in America for
I know
3 years. Written by a professor at Baylor. It's very dry, which is why I haven't finished it as much as I would want to. Because it's super interesting, but it's also like it does a lot of work to make me not interested. No offense to the author, I'm sure it's great, but it's like, hey, here's a really interesting information in the most long-form, boring way imaginable.
But I want you to want to read this. He's like, I want you to read this book, but you got to really want it. Like,
right. You need to punish yourself if you're going to take it seriously.
It's the worst form of gatekeeping.
Right. But it is interesting because there's a lot of Baptists that are like, at least in some of the circles that I run in, maybe in this part of the world, that like, well, hey, Calvinism's the worst thing that's ever happened to like the Baptist church. And it's like, well, did you know that Baptists were founded because of Calvinists, like largely pushing back against Methodism? But okay,
particular Baptists, and then you had not Universal. There's a university, Brown. What's the university in the city? Going to Moore. That is a Free Will Baptist. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Hillsdale.
Yeah.
Is it? It's not Hillsdale anymore. Or is it
college? It is. They just It's
it was
college.
Something else before Hillsdale. Anyway,
it was literally like Free Will Baptist something like that. It was just like in the name. Yeah.
But yeah, that's a Free Will Baptist. Didn't Daryl graduate from there? You're Daryl? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I did some Googling. You want Gemini's
I would love Gemini's answer.
Explanation of what a Mennonite is. So Mennonites are a Christian Anabaptist denomination. Anabaptist meaning like again baptism, right? So it was this group that was like, hey, we were all baptized as babies, and we don't think that that's probably the right way to do it. So we're going to get baptized again as adults, and then for our kids, we're not going to baptize them as babies. We're just going to baptize them as adults. Again, baptism. You keep saying words. They are a denomination focused on discipleship to Jesus Christ, emphasizing nonviolence, service to others, community, and a simple lifestyle. Key beliefs include adult baptism, separation of church and state, rejection of oaths, which is interesting, a literal interpretation of the Bible, except for the rejection of oaths thing, probably.
Well, we
talking
about
that
like
seriously, but yeah, right. So far, yes. A commitment to peacemaking and social justice. That's where they don't sound very.
What?
Careful.
That's where they don't sound very Baptist. They see the church as a mutually accountable community and seek to live out Jesus' teachings of love and reconciliation in their daily lives. Following Jesus' example, focus on the Sermon on the Mount. They're pacifists. Central tenet is nonviolence, rejecting war and participation in politics.
Yep.
Which I identify with that a bunch. I have a lot of those leanings, which is
that is true.
So that's when I read that, I was like, oh crap, maybe I'm a Mennonite.
Honey, grab the skirt.
Mennonites are active in service and seek justice in the world, often expressed through organizations, strong sense of community, simplicity, non-materialistic lifestyle. The problem is I really like my Xbox. That would be hard.
Darn. Yeah, non-material.
Actually have one.
How far does that go? Yeah, that's what I want.
Then that depends on congregation, from what I was reading. Though it's so a commitment to a simple, non-materialistic lifestyle is encouraged, though its interpretation varies among different congregations. Bible-centered, separation of church and state, believe in a clear distinction between the church and government, and most congregations are independent, which is interesting. Amish versus Mennonites. While both are Anabaptists, the Amish split from the Mennonites in the 17th century and maintain a more separate traditional rural rural way of life, distinct from technology and social integration, typical of most modern.
All right. Okay. That is actually quite clarifying. So
Yeah,
now
it is.
you got learned something, listeners and me. Yeah. Cameron, you're looking up something for us, eh? Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to be the feature. That was supposed to be while somebody else is doing something.
Well,
Hey, everybody, watch me time.
It was riveting. I'll say
Yep.
that. While you're looking that up, I'll just read this post that I found because I think like this, like as I read this, I was like, huh, maybe I'm with Cameron. Like, doesn't sound so bad. So this post
Thought
was
I'd get you.
in the tech portion of the forum, and it is titled "Elon Musk and His Sons." So it's like, well, obviously I have to read
You
it.
have to, yeah.
And his sons.
Yeah, which I don't know anything about
Okay.
Musk really, or his children.
kids.
I know he has
Yeah,
like 800
a
of
lot.
them.
Right. He has a lot.
Right. So
Because he's literally gone on record saying that he thinks one of his missions is to populate the world with smart
Yes.
people.
it's just so arrogant.
He's
Anyway,
an
It's
interesting
just
guy.
insane. I
Mhm.
tried that on Haley and she didn't go.
You guys have replaced yourselves. You're good.
That's yeah, we hit our 2.11.
okay, so here's the post. It says Elon Musk is about to have his 13th child with his 4th baby mama,
Good
a
grief.
supposedly conservative online influencer.
Right.
Conservative figures are quick to celebrate calling him pro-life. He isn't. Even dogs do the same.
Ooh.
Conservatism without Christ is as perverse and godless as progressivism.
Okay. Actually, keep going. Sorry. Keep going.
Let it be known, the family is a divine institution, marriage is sacred, children are a divine gift, and fornication is the corrosive acid that
Nice.
destroys and corrupts all these divine gifts.
You
It
better
is the
talk to him.
evil that breeds all other evils, from abortion to sodomy. It is not enough to have children. They must be conceived within the blessedness of holy matrimony. It is not enough to procreate. Children must be raised and educated in a loving home with a father and mother. It's not enough to be manly. Men must channel their manliness toward building holy, functional Christian families. Only then will our society change for the better. Until then, we will have serial fornicators, unfaithful men, and non-Christian men as our icons and heroes.
Dang. All right.
Yeah.
I read
All
that
right.
and I was like, well,
Will
okay.
that fit
here's-
on a shirt?
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the deal. Like he's actually touching. When was this posted? Do you know? It should have a timestamp, like the date. But anyway, like
Thank you for explaining
17.
forums to the millennials, Stephen. We got the. We'll take it from here.
We invented these. You ever heard
Yeah.
of MySpace?
well, the way you said that, you were just like, and I was like,
Well, I
yes,
didn't
it
have the
does.
tab
I was
open.
just,
I had to flip
oh,
it.
okay, okay. I was like,
March 17th
okay,
of this year.
that's right. Okay, so the reason I asked that is because there is definitely this like I saw it in like a post
I know
about
what you're
like
doing.
a country concert or something where it was like all of them were getting wasted and like all sorts of stuff, but like all of them were like Trump voters, and so it was like this like we're in this cultural moray where politically people are conservative and socially they're not even remotely conservative. Like,
And
in
the
any
church
sense.
hasn't figured out how to
Exactly.
delineate between the two yet
Yeah.
because they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's us. And it's like,
exactly.
no, it's not.
I know. And so it's yes,
just-
thank you. Because the devotion to the political conservative sometimes I don't know how to like I don't know what words I'm looking for,
It
but
like
like
drowns out.
it almost
the-
blinds yeah to where it's like, oh well, people they're at least politically conservative, so you know it's fine, at least they're not like, you know, voting for whoever. So
Well,
like,
and there's this kind of assumption, at least in my upbringing to an extent, that if it was almost a one-to-one relationship. If you're a Christian, you're a conservative. If you're a conservative, you're a Christian. And I think that assumption has carried over now, where we assume that anybody who votes red
yes,
is automatically
you have to be,
at
why
least
else would you
kind
be?
of Christian, right?
Right.
And it's like that is no longer true.
Yeah. If you remove, because again, this person on this post is pointing out the fact that if you remove, and I think you guys are going to make fun of me. I actually think Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire has talked about this, where if you remove,
I love Michael Knowles. What are you talking
yeah,
about?
he's great. If you remove the foundation for conservatism, which is, I mean, basically like Christian religious values, then like it's just made up. There's no basis for actually being conservative. It just becomes a like transgressive action against
Speaking
the popular
socially
culture.
conservative.
Socially, yes,
Yeah, okay,
exactly.
okay.
So like, why, like literally, I mean, because you look at the like, I mean, people who are like at the concert at that whatever. Like all of them are having
The Coldplay
sex.
concert?
Like, none of them. No, well, no, yeah. Like at the country concert is happening. They're all getting wasted. Like none of them actually care about like traditional family values. Like because the actual basis for conservatism, which is some sort of like religious value, like a value like you mentioned before, the Imago Dei, people are made in the image of God. Like if you remove that, then there's really not a lot of basis for being socially conservative. There's no reason to. And so it's like this, he's just pointing that out, where it's like you can be politically conservative all you want, but you're not a conservative person, like in its truest sense. And so anyway, I just appreciate that he highlighted that, because that was something I've been thinking about recently too. And I think there's two aspects that Christians need to reclaim within like conservatism, which is like basically reminding like ourselves first and foremost that we are not firstly conservative, we are firstly Christian. And that comes out in conservative values, or at least it should. That's like the first. And second goes to what you said, Cameron. Just because someone is conservative politically absolutely does not mean that they are conservative socially and or Christian in any sense. So yeah, when you read that post, Preston, I'm glad you read that post, because got me fired up for a second, eh?
Turned them Canadian too.
Eh? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right.
Got me fired up for a second, eh?
I was like, what? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah, that's good. What else? Sorry. We had, you were looking up something, Cameron, whenever Preston read his post. I want to know what you were looking for.
Yeah, no, I was just looking up kind of the primary differences between Anabaptist and Southern Baptist, which obviously Anabaptist, kind of proto-Baptist, but still
sure.
alive and well today, doing things, obviously through things
they
like
have a website
Mennonite,
and everything.
It's yeah, they've been in the 21st century.
Yeah.
They joined this fad on the internet.
Actually,
So
you want to know a fun story? When my dad was a youth
know.
pastor, he had just entered ministry, early 2000s. Actually, I don't know when this was. Maybe in the 90s.
Before or after he started doing plane videos?
He was a youth pastor at FBC Bethany. I'm 99% sure.
Interesting.
I can't remember where. Dad, sorry, he listens to this podcast. I am misquoting you. He was at a church in Oklahoma City as a youth pastor, and there's
only a couple of those.
He told the pastor, he was like, "We need to like look into like a website and like an online presence." And the pastor was like vehemently, "No, that's ridiculous. It's like it'll never catch on. That's like not how we need to." And like, yeah, that kind of led into a bunch of other things. Yeah,
that's so much.
Yeah, and so he was like, "Hey, maybe we should look into this." And the guy was like, "No, absolutely not." So yeah, I find that fascinating. And now every single organization ever, before they're even a thing, has a website. So yeah, anyway.
It's an interesting thing to look back on, like that people had that opinion at all. Like, and it's probably because we're on this side of it, but it's hard to imagine like being at that point and seeing what the internet is and being like, "Nah, that's not going to catch on." It's like,
right.
Like it feels
so the joke from The Office.
It feels to me like looking at AI now, but like the inverse, where everyone's like, "Well, that's going to take over every single thing."
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Never mind. No, I think that's a really good point. But I just thought that was fascinating because it's like, yeah, looking again, hindsight's 2020, just like you're saying, Preston. And I think looking back makes us realize how ridiculous that is. But I mean, at the time, I can understand why people were a little leery of it. I mean, coming from like a church perspective, but yeah, anyway.
Sure. Well, it just goes back to, again, like we often view the past through our present lens. Right. And we all know that like contextualization is important, but there are things that happen that were sensible, logical, and reasonable that happened in the past that are absurd to us today. Right.
Yeah.
And the further back you go, the more that is the case.
Absolutely.
And we lose sight of that. Did I talk about monks in a previous episode yet?
Yeah.
A couple episodes ago, that whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
the evangelical,
Yes. Yeah. Completely absurd for us today on this side of the evangelical Great Commission style of ministry to look back at monks and say, why would they ever do that? But for them, they believed that was the chief end, and that was the predominant belief for believers.
Yeah, long time.
Now it's absurd.
Yeah, the Westminster
we can have a conversation about.
Yeah, the Westminster didn't come up with they put an answer to the question that was already you know what I'm saying? So it's like they're not the ones who created that answer. I think that's important to remember.
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah. That's an interesting thread to tug on.
Well, that's what catechisms are. They're not I'm not creating that answer. I am giving you the answer that we have already established is kind of the
right. Yeah,
anyway.
For sure.
So
it's just an interesting like thread to tug on a little bit that I
Yeah.
don't want to get too far into here.
Sure.
But
Yeah, no problem.
yeah, no, I was looking up the difference between SBC and Anabaptist. So yeah, anyway, Anabaptist preceded SBC. SBC came about much later. Maybe not quite 5 muches, but somewhere in there. Largely similar beliefs. The SBC came out of like the regular Baptist, dropped the Anna, which came out of Puritanism. And the Southern Baptists then further segregated 200 years ago or so.
Wasn't there an association with Quakers? Like when the SBC formed from breaking away from that, because Quakers were notoriously anti-slavery.
Yeah,
and so
SBC was not.
No, I know.
Notoriously unfortunately.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, wasn't that a part of why the Southern Baptist Convention even exists? Is because of like, but I could be wrong there. I need to read that book again. So nobody quote me on any of this.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
SBC has no problem living within secular society and has no problem not having a separation from world or government.
Yeah. That is probably the biggest difference.
Baptism by immersion, believers' baptism. So we're Credo Baptist, which Anabaptist as well. We don't have any problem with oaths, like taking oaths, like swearing on things and things like that.
Oh, that's what you meant by taking oaths.
Yeah, not like cussing.
No, not that. Yeah, okay, fair. Keep going. Yeah.
Which, because the Bible does say, I've thought about that a lot. Like the Bible says, hey, don't take oaths and don't owe anybody anything. And Baptists are like, I swear I will pay you back.
I will say, in the defense of people, it's more of a figure of speech, but yeah, for sure.
Kind of. Yeah. I don't know. In some of the passages, it doesn't read like a figure of speech at all. It's just
no. When we use it today, I'm not saying scripture.
Sure.
When
yeah, that's okay. Fair. Yeah.
But anyway.
Although we could do a whole episode on usury. I think that would be really interesting to talk about.
That would be cool.
But because our definition has changed quite a bit over the last 400 years. Anyway, yeah, and generally Baptists are fine with military service. Anabaptists would say, like, don't
generally
join the military. Yes. No violence. So like your Hacksaw Ridge kind of thing, right? Conscientious objector. And all.
Yeah,
that.
actually,
like,
strikingly similar. Just
right.
Yeah, and I remember that because it's the same with Amish. Amish are also notoriously nonviolent. The same kind of deal. Yeah,
which I can get behind more than a lot of my Baptist brethren.
I know you can. Yep.
Because they're like, from my cold dead hands, I'll kill anybody and everybody. I'm like, well,
from my cold dead hands, I will kill it.
Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. Again, like that's it's important to understand. And I think just to break stereotypes, because again, I mean, me too. Like I knew this at one point. You just kind of forget, and like whatever you see in media is what your brain thinks, even if you know better. If that makes sense.
I get most of my knowledge from Weird Al Yankovic videos. So.
He still does concerts.
That's my Wikipedia. I know. Mm-hmm. I saw him on one of the best shows I've ever seen. So good.
Well, you've been okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Yep.
It was like 20 years ago because I'm old, but yeah.
He's coming to OKC here sometime soon.
Hey, I can see him again. Probably won't.
Speaking of here was a post I'd found. Speaking of last couple episodes have been on Mormonism, because like when I saw this post, I was like, they don't believe that. Why is that in here? So we had a guy post about the lost tribes of Israel. He says
we did not have a guy. There is a guy in Mennonite that posted about. Just to be clear,
this is not our site.
Converted.
Right. He says. This is literally just a question. Lost tribes of Israel. We had a guest speaker in our Sunday school class. He thinks that Native American tribes like Cherokee are a part of the lost tribes of Israel. He had a lot of information about DNA tracing, migration, comparative philologies. I haven't heard this particular theory before. What do you think? New facts, old myths, somewhere in between? And he says, please share without putting others down. Which, fair. And the very top comment is, if that was the case, they did a terrible job passing their faith on. It should also be trivially easy to test with DNA. Sounds like someone has been drinking from Mormonism, which is like what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not a Mennonite belief. So like, I wonder if, again, people somehow associate like, well, just that old weird Christian group. And it's just like this broad term for like Mennonites, Amish, like LDS.
Who is vetting speakers in those Sunday school classes?
That's what I want to say. If that's like a Mennonite church, again, This is where Mennonites and others connect. So this could have been
true. It is just the internet, so it
true.
could literally be anything.
Yeah. There's no, like you talked about, there's no card to secure a user on that website.
Man, I got off on an article this morning about the age verification on adult websites, like to help like prevent kids from being able to access it.
Fair.
But the whole article was about how that's the worst thing ever, and all it does is take money out of the pockets of
who?
Adult stars and the corresponding like whatever. And because like there's this as fascinating as it is, our culture in a lot of ways is getting more and more conservative, in arguably maybe some toxic ways, in some good ways, in some toxic ways,
for sure.
But then it's like the response to that is like just this crazy offshoot of hyper liberalism, anything goesism. And so they're like, well, sex work is one of the most noble of all careers. And so we should try to, because all it does is actually hurt the people who are trying to do it the good way and forces people to do things the bad way. And I'm like, you're using the same argument that like gun rights people use on the other side. Like, you can't both be right about things. And anyway, but this whole article is just about how to, I was like, you know what? I, for one, am all for, like, if there had been that when I was like in the fourth grade or whatever, like, you know how much that would have saved me from, like, anyway. But it's just
your
crazy,
mom gets an email. What is this?
Right. Yeah, like, because I scanned her ID into the thing or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, anyway, it's just like crazy how dark and crazy our culture's gotten, that this whole article felt complete license to say, hey, this is absurd and we have to stop it.
Yeah. Which, like, sometimes MFA makes me feel that way, but not for that kind of thing. Yeah. If you know what I'm saying.
What just fell on your bookshelf back there? What was that?
That was his magazine.
No, did it fall?
Messenger. With a
that's about our church.
Oh, I was like, why do you have it? Man, you are super Baptist. I'm sorry I offended you earlier by saying that I'm a Mennonite.
Well, I got those because my mom brought me a huge stack over and was like, give these to people. And I was like, okay. So yeah, that's why I have them. Yeah. She was very excited about it.
Who's she? Susan? Oh, your mom.
No, my mom.
Why did I assume Susan? I guess Bot Radio, Baptist, Christian Media Network.
She's probably also excited about it. Yeah.
Is Bot a Baptist affiliated network?
I don't think so.
Are they a Christian affiliated network? I don't know. They put old Charles Stanley up on the billboards all the time, so there's something
there.
They
also have, I can't remember who it was. Not MacArthur. One of the Reform guys.
They have MacArthur up there. Sproul's been on their little ticker thing.
They have a lot of guys.
Okay. Alistair Begg. Yeah.
Begg, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Nice. All right, listen.
I feel like we talked a lot about nothing, we talked a lot about
Well, here's what I'll say.
The Seinfeld of Christian podcasts.
Yeah. If I'm going to type Bo or whatever, like, first of all, go check out Mennonite.org, the forum. Because there's some interesting conversations. Yes.
You're going to crash their servers with all five.
Yeah.
We weren't expecting this.
For this influx of traffic.
You're welcome.
Get Jedediah back on the bike. No. We got to charge the generator up.
Can you imagine next episode, Critical Levitical podcast sponsored by Mennonite? Man. Absolutely. No, but it's fascinating. Also, here's what I'll say if I'm going to put like an actual thing on this is like, please don't judge people by media portrayals because I think if anything, because again, I never really actively thought about Mennonites in my life, but my subconscious thoughts about them were not accurate. And like, that just goes to show you never really know what people are like until you actually, do some research or get to know.
Also kind of makes me wonder like how many just completely average Mennonite people I've run into and interacted with over the course of my life that I have no idea.
They're just out there making fun of like Amish people and they're like, huh.
Right.
Yeah, that's so funny. They're just like trying to play along. Yeah. Right. Maybe they make fun of Amish too. They did break away after all. Probably not. Actually, did we look that up in this? This is for another time.
What?
Is there a whole Amish
Mennonites
thread in Mennonite? No.
Oh, interesting.
The Anabaptist procession toward retirement, Amish,
if there's an Amish thread in
theories of atonement.
Mennonite. Surely not.
Yeah, I don't know. No, nothing.
Man, there's been some seedy stuff that comes out of the Amish. Like, I've read some articles about some of
Turns
that.
Out
it's
close
super toxic.
Societies can kind of be bad sometimes.
Yeah. What do you know? Turns out societies can be kind of bad.
Well, there we go.
Turns out when you put broken people in a room,
and anything,
things get broken.
Well, here's the deal, y'all. Do we think we fixed the Mennonite problem.
Did we fix the problem? Are they a
No,
problem?
I'm just kidding. That's not.
Did we fix it?
I can't tell what
We
it
gotta
does.
fix that.
I believe it works. I think on the video it'll work.
I think, yeah.
They just see
This whole
just a black
discourse will be
screen for
very
4
It just
seconds.
goes black and this weird orchestra hit, and then it's like, what are these guys doing, man? I don't know. It's gotten way worse in season
Everyone knows by now that's the "We Fixed It" music.
That is.
2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our listener knows by now.
Thank you, dear listener.
If they know 2 things, we fixed it, and Mennonites are not bugs. That's what we have taught our listeners today.
I forgot that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
That's what we've done.
That's my
Hey,
favorite
I'm gonna
fossil
say-
Pokemon.
Yeah. Do what? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. It helps a lot. Like, the algorithm can be weird. And please.
And we're
help
not
us
doing
out.
it any favors. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But share this with a friend. If you have any Mennonite friends and you want them to be offended, go ahead and share this episode with them.
Hey, I feel like we were kind of nice. Be nice
We
to
were.
my people,
That's right.
my
Yeah.
freshly adopted people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
I
right.
feel like that happens so often, though. Like, we'll talk about something that's like kind of tangential, not tangential, that is like an offshoot of mainline evangelicalism, and Cameron's like, I don't know.
I could be
think
that. Anything that's not what he currently is. Yeah.
That's-
yeah.
How dare you? I'm a nonconformist. I can
Oh,
think for
that's good.
myself.
That's right. That's right. Oh, man. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. I don't know if we have, I don't have a spoiler for next episode.
We're
I don't
gonna
like-
do one.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait till season 3.
Do we have, am I just unprepared? That's possible.
We got.
We
nothing
had
in the
talked
bag.
about talking about John Piper's AI.
Oh, that's right.
Thing.
I actually would like to do that. We've talked about AI before, but not in that sense. Literally, since we last talked about AI, a lot of more new conversations have happened and things have changed. So that is very true. It's
In fact, this whole
constantly
podcast
changing
is
world.
AI. We're not even here.
That's right.
I'm playing video games in my underwear right now.
You've never even actually known us.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
All
why I just believe whatever you guys say because I'm AI and you can very easily
That makes
convert me.
sense. Hmm. You and I notoriously agree on everything, so now I know why.
Yeah, that must be.
See last episode.
Yeah, right. Oh, man. All right. Either way, there's going to be a new episode Friday. Thanks for
Woo!
listening, and we hope to see you guys next time.